take back my dignity. I'm gonna take back my humanity. I'm going down Bezos' house. I'm gonna take back my dignity. I'm gonna take back my dignity. I'm gonna take back my humanity. Now it's under my feet, under my feet, under my feet. It's under my feet. Ain't gonna let no billionaire walk all over me. Wrap it up. Oh, ain't gonna let no billionaire walk all over me. One more time. Ain't gonna let no billionaire walk all over me. Woo. All right. Indivisible Choir. So we're going to get started, and maybe some more people will trickle in, but that labor movement song really speaks to this moment, doesn't it? We need to sing that one a lot. Hi, everybody. Yeah. It's so great to be here together, isn't it? Yeah. And to all of you out on Zoom, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming here today. We've had an incredible response to this event. As you can see, we had to move to a hybrid event. So thank you for your great response, Tompkins County. I'm Melissa Blake, and I'm a member of your Indivisible Tompkins leadership team. The other members of the team can be seen wearing armbands, wave, leaders. Well, it's most of, yep, there we go. And we welcome you to this beautiful space. As we begin, I ask us to remember that this beautiful place commonly called Tompkins County is the homeland of the Gayacono people. We honor their ongoing relationship with the land that stretches back thousands of years. And we honor the fact that out of a heartbreaking conflict, the nations of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy created the longest lasting democracy known on earth. It's based on a constitution called the Great Law of Peace. As we work here to defend the U.S. Constitution, we are grateful for this model, some of which was incorporated into the U.S. Constitution. But the framers left out some of the best parts. The whole world could learn a lot from the Great Law of Peace, and we are grateful. Indivisible Tompkins is also grateful to Tompkins County Progressives, New York Progressive Action Network, All Eyes and Ears on Racism, and Alliance for Justice for co-sponsoring this event, and to 40 Weight Coffee for the coffee. Let's give them a round of applause. The support of all these people has been crucial for such a new organization to create such a large event. And we're grateful for the press people here today to cover. Yeah. They're covering this important moment that we are in. And we're very grateful for our event volunteers. You know who you are. Thank you. Thank you all. Now I'm going to turn it over to Peaches Gillette of our co-sponsor, All Eyes and Ears on Racism, or AIR.
Thank you, sorry. Hi. I don't know if most of you may know this, I actually preach at this sanctuary, so this feels really familiar to me. I started the organization AIR AEER, All Eyes and Ears on Racism, because of a disturbing event that took place last summer in Stewart Park, where my two nephews, 11-year-old twins, were verbally, racially attacked by an adult. And his two sons, one was a teenager, one was a little one like they were, and they were called nigger. And they were told to go back to where they came from and that they did not belong here. Now, I came up here from Brooklyn, and I've only been up here about 8 years, and my greatest disappointment was at that time when 100 people stood around and no one protected my children. And I wanted to question who we are and what we are truly doing when it comes to standing up as individuals. See, it's easy to stand up in a crowd. It's easy to stand up when you have a mob rallied behind you. It's easy to stand up when there's a fervor and a sensationalization going on. But when we're standing right next to an individual, where do we find our courage? We must find our courage, because every little piece of that picture turned into a larger picture. I remember as a child, someone asked me why I was concerned about throwing one gum wrapper on the ground, and I thought it would be a problem. And I said, you're looking at that as one gum wrapper. What if 1 million people only saw the one gum wrapper that they threw on the ground? What would we end up with? Well, the same is true about how we protect one another. One incident that may seem small in the grand scheme of what's going on politically must be stood up against. The minute you allow even one of us to have our rights swept from under us, to be cruelly treated and not say anything, you are part of the problem. And we don't want to be part of the problem. We want to only be part of the solution through our love, through our humanity, through our sense of dignity for everyone, and through the courage that we muster up just by virtue of the principles of what's right and what's wrong. And even if we're standing by ourselves, those principles are standing with us. We are in a lousy situation. We really are. And most people who know me, I don't take blame one side or the other. We are all part of this problem, the same way we could all be part of the solution to this problem. Because when you stand in silence, it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter what you believe. If you're not standing up against what's wrong, you're perpetuating the problem, and we have to remember that. You know, we often hear people call on the spirits of their ancestors. They do that so that they know that they actually are never alone. You are never alone when you're doing that. You really aren't. And trust me, when you say something, it opens up the window for somebody else to say, oh yeah, that's right. I saw that. I'll stand up too. And before you know it, you start with one person doing the right thing, and you end up with more people doing the right thing. And that's what we want. And what messages are we sending to our children when we don't speak up? What messages are we giving them in protecting one another from harm? What message are we telling them when we speak one way by saying we have to defend the rights of everybody, but they watch us not doing that? And we have to get our ducks in a row. And that's the biggest thing. My focus in life is who we are as individuals and how we bring those individuals together to make change. But if we are not focused on how we're changing ourselves and mustering up courage in ourselves and mustering up the force that we all have inside of us, if we had to protect our children, there would be no question about it. People come to me and say, well, how do you defend against racism? And I'm like, it's the same defense you use for everything. If it's wrong, it's wrong. My mother said, if it's wrong, it's wrong. There's nothing else in between that. And two wrongs don't make a right. It doesn't matter how good of a person you think you are. So I am here appreciative that you're all here. I love the feeling. I love the faces. I love the clothing. And I'm happy you're here. But what I really want to do is I want to ask you and beg you to please step in and step up. And let's not just look at the big things that are in the news, but the people who are in your grocery stores who are not being treated well. The people who are waiting tables who are not being treated well. The people who are losing their homes, whose roofs are falling down, whose children are hungry, who are asking for our help quietly. Generosity is not about sitting and waiting for somebody to ask. Generosity is about a state of existence that we live. It is a state of grace. And let's ask our neighbor, how are you today? And mean it. And if you need me to do anything, because I'm here. Because when all of this falls apart, and we might be helping to hide people and protect people, we need all the courage we can get. We need all the courage we can get. And it may sound very dramatic, but I'm a dramatic person. I grew up in a neighborhood. I grew up with a mother who was born in 1911 who saw lynchings. This is not far removed from my life. I grew up in a neighborhood where I had a brother who was stabbed almost to death because nobody would say anything about racism. It is a serious matter, and it doesn't become less serious when you're sitting at home eating ice cream. Let's stay on task and on target. Let's work together and keep one another uplifted and encouraged to do what's right every time, for one person and for everybody.
Hello, I'm Em Edmonds, and I want to just lead you through a very quick mindfulness exercise and to just help us remember to take a pause when we make our plans together, because sometimes we end up looking for blame or wondering what the other person is thinking. So I'm just starting out with that in the 1960s, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh and the American Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. became friends, and they worked together as our ancestors in the peace movement and in effective social justice. And this is something I learned very recently. They worked on a concept they called the beloved community, and that's a community working together toward an inclusive world of justice and peace, with equity at its root, in which human diversity was embraced with compassion and dignity. They left us tools to be more skillful and compassionate while we disarm the machinery of theft and repression that we're facing. One tool is present-centered awareness, what some people call mindfulness. And in a moment, I'll ask you for 20 seconds of silence. It's not a lot. Today, we came here with the intention of beginning to build, continuing building an effective and loving community. We came with love and concern for each other and people who are vulnerable. We came to disarm cruelty, lies, theft, and repression. May we learn from our past, listen to each other, and may we come out of blindness ourselves to build successful, inclusive communities. Today, we'll discuss some ideas and actions, and in the midst of this, we'll sometimes stumble or misunderstand, which is common and natural and human. This is when we can use the simple and powerful tool of mindfulness. In the midst of our work, we can pause. We can drop our awareness out of our heads, loosen the grip of our thoughts, and we can focus on our precious breath, our precious body, our precious human life. And while we do that pause, we notice the breathing of others, our neighbors, all around us. So let us practice once, and when I let the first bell ring, we will gently breathe for 20 seconds. After 20 seconds, the bell will ring again, and this practice can be done at any time, with or without a bell. And interestingly enough, I left my phone over there, so I'm going to be the bell. So we'll let our thoughts recede. There's nothing more important than our breath, and there's nothing more important than our neighbor's breath. Ready? Oh, thank you. Okay, this is going to happen. Okay, I'm going to ring the bell now. May we honor each other in this work, and may we succeed.
Thank you, Em. So I left off one very important thank you earlier, which is the First Unitarian Society of Ithaca. Isn't it great to be here? Hopefully not the last time we're in this space. Paul, we're ready for a slide. The past month has not felt normal, has it? That's because it isn't. isitacoup.org has been monitoring the situation since December 2020, and this is the highest the needle has been, higher than on January 6th. We are experiencing an administrative coup in progress. That means an illegal takeover of government using the claiming of powers, intimidation, bullying, extortion, and threatening the media. Does that sound familiar? Modern autocracies have been defeated nonviolently by the populace in many places, including Hungary, South Africa, and Serbia. A coup is in progress in the United States, but hasn't been consolidated. Now is the time we stop it. Over the next hour and a half, you will hear some inspiring speakers and learn about important ways you can show up to defend our democracy. We do have power, but we need to know how to use it. Our final speaker today will be Sarah Rieske, Indivisible Organizing Manager for New York State. And I'm just mentioning her now because we thought you might have questions for her, so there will be a Q&A after her session. You were given a card on which you could write questions. Those are questions for Sarah. And we'll collect those towards the end. We'll also be asking you to fill out and leave with us those action cards that we gave you. Some of you did not take action cards. Did we run out? The question cards. Okay, Ken, we might need more question cards for people, but not yet. Thank you for letting me know. So those will be, there's two cards, a blank card for your questions, and then a card for basically our questions for you. In what ways are you interested in getting active? And I will also be back to tell you how you can get involved with Indivisible Tompkins right away. But I will mention one way right now, which is that you can donate to defray the costs of this event and future actions. There are donation jars in various locations. They have a QR code on them and I believe a URL, so you can donate online if you prefer. And we'll mention that again later. And then at the very end of our time together, we'll have time for networking, mingling, and refreshments. But now, I'm very happy to welcome some people who are already in this fight. They're here to tell us about this moment we're in and what we must do. And they're going to introduce themselves.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Beyi Shoinkairwele. I'm the chairperson of the Tompkins County Human Rights Commission. I have 3 minutes. I'm going to do this on the run. We've come too far, we have fought too long and lost too many lives. And therefore, we must hold these truths to be self-evident, that the vision of the future must not rest in the hands of despotic, warmongering, narcissistic, unelected billionaires, but in the hands of those who have dreamt and worked for a world that was yet unborn, a world whose architects and builders must be people like you and I, brick by brick, battling for freedom, for justice, for equality, for equity, and our human rights, standing in solidarity, indivisible. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was written for a time like this. Lacking the force of law, it affirms the entitlement of citizens, of human beings, whose governments wage war against them through a blitz of orders that threaten their freedoms, their jobs, their security, their safety, their welfare, and render entire groups as unwanted and disposable. It calls us to fight this evil indivisibly. It was the enslaved, it was the marginalized, it was the oppressed who fought across the world for the rights and protections that are recklessly trampled upon today by President Trump and his cabal of advisors. So we must not let our history be rewritten by those who prop up their identities and satiate their greed by hounding, erasing, and robbing people who are rendered vulnerable by reason of their identity, but who gave us the values and the wealth on which we all rise. We cannot let the future of our children be spoiled by a regime that seeks only to grasp our commonwealth and convert it to their personal coffers, who seek to use and abuse the earth's resources, of which we are mere caretakers, and despise sustainability and accountability. I believe we cannot allow our lives' labor to be paralyzed in fearful submission to a president who arrogantly appoints himself as a king and uses truth social to give society anything but the truth. We refuse to comply with the resurgence of an ugly imperial age in which sovereign nations and disputed territories, Canada, Ukraine, Greenland, Gaza, are threatened with colonization by the President of the United States, extorted for $500 billion in exchange of mineral rights, sold out to despotic allies, or converted into a paradise for our ruling oligarchs. I feel we must salute at this time our very courageous attorneys general, governors, and the grassroots movements who seek solidarity with global citizens who are also under attack. It is a time for solidarity. And we must demand action from silenced congressmen and policymakers and our representatives. Where are they? Where are they? Because you and I, we will battle every day until we can say that we hold these truths to be self-evident and actualized in our lives, that we have a right to refuge, we have a right to life, we have a right to dignity, we have a right to respect, we have a right to refuge, and the other protections that were guaranteed by our forebears who fought hard in the trenches for you and I. That we believe that the glorious human diversity that we met on earth cannot be eradicated, banned, or annulled by anyone just to soothe the fragile supremacist mythologies of a president and his team. We will not stand by and witness another global genocide, whether it is here or elsewhere in the world. We believe that a leader who bans equity and inclusion has lost all reasoning and his moral bearings. And we must stand, indivisible. Thank you all.
That's obviously going to be very difficult to follow. Thank you, that was incredible. My name is Annalie Weirson. I am a local, I am transgender, and I am pissed off. The day Trump was inaugurated, he signed an executive order declaring that I don't exist. This was an opening volley. Yeah, like, I'm here. Oh. This was just an opening volley in his war on woke, under a banner he recruited for by fear-mongering about immigrants, transgender surgeries, and immigrants getting transgender surgeries. His rallying cry that still is echoing in my brain is that Kamala Harris is for they, them. Donald Trump is for you. Just yesterday at CPAC, while speaking about the wealth of our country, he still was going on. He kept tossing in, of course, now we give it away to transgender. Everybody gets transgender surgeries. The fixation on trans people isn't random. He didn't spin a wheel of vulnerable groups to decide who gets to be first in line at the gallows. No, transgender people are a unique abomination in his eyes. We get to be that canary in the coal mine because we are living proof that the order of the world, that world which has allowed Trump to sail to success despite his many, many failures, is not some natural order of the universe. To them, the gender binary is a holy caste system. There are many other caste systems they think of as sacred, but gender is the most demonstrably malleable. They need that barrier between man and woman to go unquestioned. If being a man is not an inherent trait, their perceived superiority they've inherited through centuries of patriarchy is also not inherent either. Yeah. Yeah. It is a farce. It's a farce, and that is terrifying. The truth is that none of those barriers are real, regardless of the unique constellation of traits that makes you who you are. You are undeniably a human being who deserves dignity. What they think of as castes, thank you, are mere social strata that rely on buy-in from the entire population. The progress made by and since the civil rights movement, progress that the values we profess to share as a country mandate, gives us a chance for a world without that buy-in. And Trump wants to rip that all away to punish us for not knowing our place in the world. The punishment won't end with trans people. We are merely an easy target at the moment, the most visible affront to nature in their eyes. So much so that even well-meaning political strategists have suggested that trans issues are an albatross around the neck of an otherwise strong campaign. But I promise, if we are sacrificed in the name of strategic appeal, someone else will become that most visible. They will become the target, and our blood will be on their hands for nothing. These battle lines aren't drawn by caste. This is a war between two groups. Those who think they alone are worthy of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, who have broken their oaths to the Constitution, and who are burning their own country to the ground so they can be the unquestioned rulers of the ashes. The other side, us, hopefully, those who know that those promises laid out in the charter of our very nation are inalienable rights and are willing to fight for them. Their banner is one of hate. Let ours be one of love. Thank you.
I'm gonna do this because I don't want to speak behind the podium. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Okay. I'm gonna test y'all real quick. Let's see who knows the right answer. But when democracy is under attack, what do? I said that wasn't enough. I said when democracy is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. We're gonna stand up and fight back to what's going on. We're not gonna sit and take it, not at all. I want to introduce myself first. My name is Maurice Brown. I am the duly elected incumbent of the 15th District of Onondaga County. They seem to be attacking DEI, but they don't know that we are here, and we are not going to take it. They seem to have, there's like one thing that like actually did trickle down. The one thing that actually did trickle down, and I'm learning it now that I'm in local government, is how our local government officials act on the other side. And that's really messed up. We can't have that. Just here in Onondaga County, we have a Republican county executive who has said he's going to cooperate with ICE in any manner that they want to. We can't have that. We got to stand up and fight back. We can't have that. This on top of already promising to cut the red tape on these big $1 million projects, even if they attack our environment. We can't do that. We must protect our lakes. We must protect our safe drinking water. When democracy is under attack, what do? That's what I'm talking about. But we're not going to talk about them. It's about us. It's about folks who believe in the promise that America has to offer. It's about us, folks who believe that every child, regardless of where they were born, deserves access to good education. It's about us who believe that no one is illegal on stolen land. No one. So we're not going to go quietly. We're not going to take it. When trans lives are under attack, what do? Stand up. When Social Security is under attack, what do? Stand up. When black and brown people are under attack, what do? Stand up. When democracy is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. Thank you.
So thank him for that. This is Mo, everybody. He's also my brother. I love you. So one of the things that was said here earlier, they'll attack the first group, and when that group is gone, they won't stop there. They'll attack the next group, and till that group is gone, until there's no one left standing. They've started that with the immigrant population as well. They've painted the immigrant population as every single one of those are criminals, and that they were only going after the criminals, but we know that that was not true. We have absolutely uncovered that lie. In New York City, they were literally putting people on the streets, stopping every single person who is black or brown to identify and ask them for their papers. What do? We protect ours. We protect ours. We love. We protect our people. We protect our community. Because they're our community. They are our community. That is the most important. I want to go through, I'm going to get really nerdy on you all. Okay, and I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. I gave myself homework on the way down. Mo knows me, I do this. So a couple things that I want you to know. People will talk about New York State and they'll say, we're going to put our heads down, we're going to protect our own, we're going to get through the next 4 years. We cannot do that. And we've started to see that because $85 billion of the New York State budget is a direct pass-through from federal dollars.
We have a $252 billion budget. $85 billion of that could be taken away from us. That is school lunches. That is Medicaid. That is Medicare. That goes into our healthcare system back and forth, through and through. That goes into our farm system. That goes into our higher education system. That goes into research. I could keep going. And we've watched them already start to pull back on all of that. So when we say that we need to hold the line now, it is because we absolutely cannot put our heads in the sand, because that money will be taken away. And what we've seen them do, everything that they're doing right now is illegal. We've seen it, we know it. And what they're doing is they're throwing every single thing at the wall as fast as they can, knowing what they're doing is illegal, because they know if they throw it fast enough, some of it will get through because we just can't keep up and the judicial system can't keep up, and some of it will stick. So every single one of us has to do our part, and we can do it in a ton of different ways. And there are some beautiful wins. There's some beautiful wins that I want to lift up that I love. When Coca-Cola called ICE on their own people, what happened? They lost about, $15 billion? $15 billion in profits right away? Target pulled back on their DEI, $12 billion in profits? And when they backed off, what did we say? We said, no. You think we're just gonna come back just because you backed off on some words? No, you showed us who you were. You showed us we're not coming back, because our dollars actually do matter. And what do we need to do with those dollars? We need to start using them locally. We need to start rebuilding. We need to support our local businesses. Bring them back to your local farmers market. We've got a winter's farmers market. Here's another thing that we can start doing. We can start asking ourselves, how much is enough? Do we want community, or do we want consumerism? And what makes happiness? What makes us happy is supporting each other, baking each other a loaf of bread, or going and buying each other a sweater. No, from Amazon. And I know, some things do bring us joy, but every single time we can ask each other, how much is enough, and what is my joy? So those are some things I want to start with, okay? I'm just getting started. Just getting started. I'm sorry, I'm not taking away everything. I promise. But here are some things. Make sure that our schools know how to protect our undocumented immigrants. On the Attorney General's website, has guidelines of exactly how they can protect. On the Attorney General's website, there are guidelines on exactly how local governments can protect. The 10th Amendment says that they cannot force us to use our local resources to do the federal government's job. And ICE is a federal government job. It is not our responsibility. They cannot force us. That is our right, and everybody needs to remember that, because our sheriff did the right thing by telling them he would not participate. He would not. We need to make sure our nonprofits know how to protect their rights. You know, here's something that we do all the time. We think that we want to hold on to certain words because we feel proud about them. But you know what? Get sneaky about it. They say we're going to attack certain words. Change the damn words. We'll use another word. We'll call DEI something else. Keep pivoting. Whatever it is, as long as the practice of what you're doing is still the same. Let's get smart. We'll stay one step ahead of them every single time, because they're doing searches online. They're trying to find that. We'll stay one step ahead of them. Be conscientious of where we shop, as I said. We need to rebuild, and here's something really important. We need to rebuild our antitrust laws, because that's what got us here in the first place. They have been gutted since 1964, since we put the laws in place to protect human rights. There has been a concerted effort to break down all of those rights. And that is what has been the development of the profit industry that has taken over government, all the way through citizens' rights, right? We saw that. They buy elections, and there are state laws that will do that. The right to repair, agricultural right to repair, that will prevent John Deere and Caterpillar from literally preventing our farmers from fixing their own tractors. That's absurd. That's absurd. We have bills that literally will, there's so many. I'm going to give you a list. There are so many, and he's laughing at me. I'm going to create an entire list of the antitrust laws that we have right now in New York State, and I need you to support all of those and push my colleagues to get those through, because what I'm seeing, and it's just human nature, I'm seeing people get scared because every time they stand up as elected officials, they are getting attacked by the right now. They're getting attacked, and so they're backing off. They're backing off any law that will push back against the intention to roll back bail reform and the attempt to roll back discovery, anything that is a criminal justice protection right now. And the right is trying to roll every single one of them back, and the left is scared to fight back because every single one of them feels they'll be attacked. But that is absolutely abhorrent, absolutely abhorrent. And what we're seeing right now with the strikes, the illegal strikes, and I need to honor this for 1 second, because it is not a mistake that these strikes happened the same week that the charges against those who murdered Robert Brooks came out, that they came out to strike, so that they would be perceived as the victims instead of Robert Brooks, who was murdered on video that we all saw. And I want you to all understand that. So we absolutely do need to make sure that workers get paid more, and we need to fight for that. But we cannot have our systems held hostage. I'm getting texts from people who are healthcare practitioners in the prisons who are themselves scared to go to work, and they're working 48-hour shifts straight, feeling unsafe. In those environments, we need people to go back to work so that those people don't feel safe, and the people who are incarcerated, who are feeling unsafe, who are writing me and saying, please, we need that protection. That is what is happening right now. And I will say one more thing. We need to remember that our vote actually really does matter. Right now, we have on the ballot 4 ballot lines. 4 ballot lines. We have the Conservative Party, we have the Republican Party, we have the Democratic Party, and we have the Working Families Party, which means we have 2 on the right and we have 2 on the left. One of the parties on the left is this close from falling off the ballot. Because every single election, we need 250,000 people to vote on the Working Families Party in order for that line to stay on the Working Families Party. Now, I don't care what line you vote on. I don't care what party you're registered in. But if that falls off, just do the math. We will have 2 parties on the ballot on the right, and we will have 1 party on the ballot on the left. And this state will become more red instantly. Now, here is simple 101, WFP 101. You can be a registered Democrat, you pay $120 of your dues, WFP, and you vote once a year on the WFP line, and you both become a member of the WFP party, and the WFP line stays on the ballot. And for every independent that does not want to vote on the red line or the blue line, has another line to vote on the left side, and we keep this state progressive. So every single person should take those 2 steps. Pay your dues, 120, and vote on the WFP line. Thank you, everyone, so much.
Thank you, Anna Kellis.
Song for you. And this one's really important because it tells us how this is going to end. All you fascists gonna lose. Ready? All you fascists gonna lose. Good. All you fascists gonna lose. fascists gonna lose, you're gonna lose. You fascists, you're gonna lose. Now we got some verses for you. Joanna's written them specially. They're perfect for the occasion. We need you to sing along even if you don't know the verse. And this is how you sing. Bum, ba, 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 ba. But we need everybody to make some noise.
All right.
Good.
Whoa.
Ba, ba.
Oh.
Good. Let's do a chorus verse.
All you
Fascists gonna
to
lose.
lose. All you fascists bound to lose. Oh yes, all you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. There's fascists in the White House. Might come as so surprised, but people all around the world are getting organized. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. A chorus. All you fascists bound to lose. All you fascists bound to lose. All you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. We got people of every color working side by side. In every town and city, we're breaking down the lies. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. All you fascists bound to lose. All you fascists bound to lose. All you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Now people are coming around from everywhere, buses, trains, and bikes. We're gonna show those fascists what democracy looks like. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Now all you fascists bound to lose. All you fascists bound to lose.
Okay.
All you fascists bound to lose.
You're bound to lose.
You fascists bound to lose. One more time.
Big
Now
one.
all you fascists bound to lose. Yeah, all you fascists bound to lose. All you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Who's next? Lushima, where's Lushima? There you are.
See, hi everybody. My name is Lushima. I'm a program director at Southside. I don't like to throw out titles or anything because I think that we're not here for titles. We're here because we want to come together as a community. So I'm going to skip a lot of that stuff. But I will say that I'm very privileged in my knowledge. My dad, he escaped the Mobutu regime. We were lucky enough that not only did he escape it, but he brought a set of knowledge that we learned about what fascism really looks like and signs and how to pay attention to that. We learned about trickle-down, we learned about Reaganomics, we learned about Patrice Lumumba and Black Wall Street. We learned what Africa was a continent when so many people in our school said, oh, it's a country, right? We learned that Ethiopia remained independent from colonizers for the longest recorded history in Africa. We learned things like that. We had those conversations. I learned my favorite poem, First They Came, by Friedrich Niemöller, and I hope all of y'all know that poem. I learned about Rudyard Kipling's White Man's Burden. That was in 1899. So when I heard, whatever his face, that one white Republican asshole say, yeah, which one? I know. when I heard him say, oh, his name is right, Darren Beatty, but yeah. He said, competent white men must be in charge for things to work. So that was 126 years later. So I saw history repeating itself. I learned what lynching was, so when I saw Robert Brooks get murdered, I knew what I was looking at. I learned that education is more than just schooling. It's learning to support people that don't look like you and staying ahead. Man, if y'all haven't watched Robert Brooks' video, I don't think you should do it just because it's, just make the world a better place. That's all I got to say on that. And I learned that a lot of tools of warfare have changed, but the mission has stayed the same. And that this is a class war. This is an ongoing class war. This is about billionaires who don't give a fuck about us. It's about billionaires who don't give a fuck about us trying to tell us how to live. And I learned very early on that whiteness was part of that class war, right? Whiteness was invented so that black people, so that people of other colors could be kept down. And I learned that to be anti-racist, that's a good thing, but that a lot of people think that anti-racist means anti-white. And what does that tell you? I'm not trying to educate y'all too much, but I want y'all to go educate yourselves. So when we recognize those kinds of things, we can fight back, right? MAGA has shown that it uses rapid misinformation to spread shot so that we don't even focus on what's actually going on, right? How many of y'all have a Facebook account? Raise your hand if you have Facebook. My condolences, that's a lot of people. Sorry for those 30 hours you wasted last week. Meta AI is owned by Mark Zuckerberg, one of those rich millionaires who was sitting at the front row at the inauguration. So we need to find ways of spreading our information and then communicating. Yeah, Blue Sky is one big thing. It's not owned by Meta. I'm not trying to advertise for them, but I'm just saying they're not part of Meta. I don't know how long Signal is going to be safe, but Signal is a safe place to connect to. When you're online, make sure that everyone that you know are people that you know, because if you're out sharing events and things and information, and you got one MAGA friend who's like, okay, I see this, I'm going to go da-da-da-da. Yeah. Vet your Meta circle. Be very careful with that. Don't get scammed. There are a lot of fake accounts, fake bots, all that stuff. If you can't, I know this is a big ask, but how many of y'all have Google accounts? Man, the crazy thing is I was on there was a show called The Wedding Show. I don't know if y'all heard about The Wedding Show. It was a fantastic theater experience. Oh yeah, yep. But I played a character who was telling everyone to get rid of their Google accounts, but today I'm that person. Like, it was reality, like life imitates art, imitates life. But really, when you can, if you can, find private servers, right? People who can carry your information. Don't trust Google, that's all I'm gonna say. I say all I'm gonna say, but I keep saying. Support your teachers. I'm gonna say a bunch of rapid fire things. We gotta support our teachers. And y'all are all teachers too. Because you might not have children, but you have people that are connected to you, that hear from you. We're all teachers and we're all students. Never bend the knee to billionaires, I already said that. Read banned books, protect banned books, buy banned books, hold on to them. If you have the land space, grow a community garden. Try and set that up for your people. Archive everything, right? Because things online are getting deleted. Go to the White House website. Someday it's just going to say all hail the king, right? Someday that's what it's going to be. So archive everything. Check on your friends. Protect someone who has less than you. Talk to your children. I think most importantly, learn and share the uncomfortable truths. Because the more that you do that, the more this rapid war on disinformation, misinformation, is going to shrivel up and die. Because everyone who's aware, who's educated and focused and woke, when they didn't take that term woke to mean something else, that's how we win. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lushima. That was amazing. Thank you to Anna, all the speakers, to our organizers. My name is Dominic Frangelo, born and raised in my hometown of Caroline, New York. It's good to be home. So in my hometown, I got to witness the privilege of participatory democracy as our citizens together wrote our comprehensive plan, our town plan of what we wanted to see in the future. And in our humble home of democracy, our town hall, I got to learn from our town supervisor, Don Barber, a farmer turned public servant, a member of the Unitarian Church, and the most important lesson I learned from him as my political mentor is that the key to a successful democracy is an informed and active citizenry. And that's what we're doing here today. And I witnessed the power of that in action as our citizens rose up across the town of Caroline, across Tompkins County, across the state of New York to take on and win against the biggest and most powerful industry on earth, the big oil and gas industry. So, we've now grown into a network as we organized elected officials around the state to successfully ban fracking in cooperation with the movement. We've now grown coast to coast and nationally as a network of elected officials on the front lines of the climate crisis and elected officials who are veterans, who served our country in uniform and now are in second service in elected office, swearing, taking an oath to the Constitution to protect and defend the general welfare. So we have friends inside the administration, we have friends inside the military, so we know exactly what is going on. And they are using a military strategy of shock and awe, as Anna was saying, throwing everything against the wall to see what's going to stick. They're using deflection tactics. They're talking about the Panama Canal when really what they want to take is the Suez Canal, because it is where most of China's oil comes through. Their plan is to stir the pot, is to get the cartels, the drug cartels from Mexico, to fight each other here in the US so that they can invoke the Insurrection Act, they can invoke the Alien and Sedition Act, and they can take away that law to assign the DOD to go after the cartels with comitatus that prevents the military from arresting civilians. They plan to round up civilians. This is what they're planning to do. It's open. This is public. So, acknowledge that. This is serious. Yet, although I feel so hopeless sometimes, I feel so powerless, but that's exactly what they want us to feel. And we have done this before. We, in New York State, we have led the movement against slavery through abolition. We have led for women's suffrage, winning the rights to vote for women across the country. And we here in New York have taken on the most powerful industry in the history of the planet Earth, the oil and gas industry, and we won. So, we have a choice. Do we sit in despair? Or do we rise up and face the truth about the reality of what is coming and gather together in spaces like this, sacred spaces, and move forward together? Awesome. So, as a path forward, I offer three things, and this is modeled by my mentor, Joanna Macy, who I had the privilege to work with. She said to make any change, we need three things. We need to stop the destruction, we need to shift consciousness, and we need to grow a new beginning. So, stop the destruction. We need to resist the worst. So here's a good thing. Our military, again, from knowing from what's going on the inside. Our military cares about procedure, cares about the Constitution. They take an oath to the Constitution, not the president. And they take an oath to uphold the rule of law. So they are doing everything they can. They know this is wrong. They're doing everything they can to lawfully carry out those orders, which means follow the procedure to the letter. So that's what's going down. Because they know the real danger is from China and Russia taking advantage of the situation, which is exactly the pan, because we know who the puppet is here. So the military is civilian run, so we need to protect that and make sure that all those new appointments are blocked. The worst appointments are blocked. So here's how we need to respond. We need to go both on the defensive and the offensive. We need to delay the worst appointments as much as possible to get to the midterms so we can take back the House. We need to give cover to members of Congress who are sane from the Republican Party, who know that this is wrong. We need to give them cover. One senator can oppose an appointment. We need to make sure that we have a strong group to give courage to them so they can block going into recess. And we need to use it as a negotiation tool. So the opportunity is working with lawmakers who are veterans, who took that oath to the Constitution, who in uniform fought to defend our democracy abroad, and now are in office and have the chance to defend our democracy at home. That means we need to lift up their voices and give courage to Republican members of Congress to stand up to their own party. And doing that because veterans are the most credible messenger in the country after doctors and nurses, so they have the power to give that courage to members of Congress. So we're working to mobilize members, elected officials who are veterans, and we need your help. The second is shifting consciousness. This is part of a 5-decade-long plan to take over the country. This is not an accident. And the implementation of Project 2025 is the ultimate culmination of their dream to dismantle democracy. But we cannot allow that to happen. And what they want is for us, they want to divide and conquer. They want us to see the other as the enemy, to see our neighbors who are Republicans as the enemy. But we're not going to allow that to happen. We know, as we talked about oligarchy, we know who the real problem is here. And they only succeed when common Americans realize that our enemy is not our fellow citizens. It's those powerful oligarchs, it's those dark money dealers, and it's those corporate enablers that are slipping our country down to despotism. And third, create anew. We need to build a progressive political infrastructure to take over the Democratic Party from the inside out to make sure it's responsible to our people, responsive to everyday Americans, workers, families, and the most vulnerable. We have to counter the propaganda. We need to build a leadership pipeline so that we can take on and lift up a progressive vision for what's possible when we lift up American families and workers. So, I invite you all to be part of it. We need your help. Go to Elected Officials to Protect America, EOPA.org, EOPA.org/join. You can sign up to volunteer. Help us activate a network of elected officials who are veterans across this country, EOPA.org/join, or contribute your energies, contribute your expertise, your networks, and contribute, if you can, donate as well. We need your help, EOPA.org. Together, we can stand up, defeat this fascism, and have a brighter future. Once we get through the next 4 years, we will see a brighter future together when we rise. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Thomas. I'm a climate scientist. I'm new to Ithaca. Thanks. I'm new to Ithaca, I'm new to activism, and I'm also a member of the Ithaca Indivisible Tompkins Steering Committee. And I have two things that I'm really excited to share with you today. Each of you coming out and tuning in, and the numbers that you have, is already gaining state-level recognition for the potential this movement has for our future. Our senators, Gillibrand and Schumer, have both offered their letters of solidarity for us in recognition of how important your activity will be to empower and direct them to fight back against MAGA in the weeks coming ahead. From Senator Gillibrand, it is a privilege to send greetings to everyone attending the kickoff of Indivisible Tompkins. Your dedication to democracy is commendable, and I'm grateful for the committed advocates such as yourselves. My fellow Senate Democratic colleagues and I share your concerns and have been deeply troubled by the actions of President Trump. From the federal funding freezes to the proposed cuts to the National Institutes of Health, I will continue to provide much-needed oversight and shine a light on the Trump administration's actions. I'm grateful for grassroots movements like Indivisible that are devoted to rebuilding our nation's democracies and preserving our constitutional and human rights. It is my hope that your efforts continue to inspire others to take part in actions large and small to effect changes in your communities. And it's kind of cool. I'm not part of, yeah. Senator, we'll get it to you after, I think like 1,000. Senator Schumer, thank you to Indivisible Tompkins and everyone who has shown up here in Ithaca today. It's democracy in action. We need people like you to make your voices heard. President Trump's illegal funding freeze and Elon Musk's outrageous attempts to take over government agencies in the dead of night cannot stand. The American people will not stand for an unelected secret group to run rampant through the executive branch. I'm pushing legislation with Leader Jeffries to stop this and leading the charge on fighting against these disturbing and damaging policies. Democracy does not shun accountability and restraint. It does not run away from transparency, but welcomes it. It does not give privilege to the needs of a small group of the ultra-wealthy at the expense of the working people. Your voices matter as we turn to the next critical phase of this fight. The Trump-Vance administration and his Republican friends in Congress are beginning to enact the heart of their policy agenda. Massive handouts to the wealthy and corporations, paid for by savage cuts to Medicaid and other programs Americans rely on. We've seen this before. It's the same agenda Republicans pursued in the first Trump administration, and we need to stand shoulder to shoulder and fight it with everything we have. Thank you all for being here today and fighting alongside me to defend our health care, democracy, the rule of law, and good government. You guys got that. It's very difficult to get senator statements. Nice work, everybody.
Yes, okay. Sorry, we're way over time.
I wish so much that I could be with you today, but I'm traveling back to Washington for votes, and since I can't be with you in person, I wanted to send this video to congratulate you on starting this group. It's as important as ever that folks are engaged and mobilized and organized, so congratulations. In just my first 6 weeks in Congress, I've already sponsored 18 bills. Of those, 16 are bipartisan. But I want to tell you about the other two because I could really use your help getting Republican support and getting those bills to the floor. Those two bills deal with Elon Musk and Doge. This isn't the first time you've heard me say it. The deck is stacked against working people in this country, and it's stacked in favor of the billionaires and big corporations. Is there any clearer example of that than what's happening with Elon Musk and Doge? Not a single person voted for this guy. And he's running around firing the nurses who care for our veterans and messing with your Social Security checks, all so he can give himself and his billionaire friends another huge tax break. There is no way we are going to let that happen. Government should work for working people in this country. So while folks fight it out in the courts, I'm leading the charge in Congress to put an end to Elon Musk's abuses. One of my two bills would make sure that anyone accessing our nation's sensitive payment systems has a security clearance and has no conflicts of interest. The other bill I've sponsored would make Doge retain and release all of its records, so we'll have receipts for every penny they're messing with. And last week, I brought Democrats and Republicans together to demand Elon Musk fully restore the funding they've cut from NIH grants, which lead important research at Cornell and Binghamton University and countless other institutions across upstate New York. On top of all of that, we've hired a lot of our staff, opened 2 offices with more coming online in the coming months, held mobile office hours everywhere from Ithaca to Norwich to Tannersville to Claverack, and opened over 100 constituent case files. Those are my top priorities in Congress: provide outstanding constituent service and meet people where they are, focus relentlessly on the kitchen table issues that voters sent me to address, making sure the economy works for them, not the powerful special interests. And I will fight like hell against anyone who wants to hurt upstate New York. I'm so grateful to all of you for organizing this group. We need you more than ever. I'm grateful to you for having my back, and I can't wait to see you all soon.
We have their attention. Is this on? Oh, I was going to say we have their attention. So I want to invite Sarah Rieske up to speak to us about Indivisible. She has been instrumental in helping us get this new chapter started. She's always just an email away when we need advice. So if you have questions while Sarah's speaking, please write them down. We will take a few questions after her.
Oh my gosh, it feels so good to be at Indivisible Church. Oh my gosh, yes. All right, Indivisible Church. All right. Hi, everybody. Can I get a round of applause for the steering committee and everybody who put this amazing event together? It feels so good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great. Can I get another round of applause for all the fabulous speakers who have already come before us? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Raise your hand if you're excited about Indivisible Tompkins. Woo! Okay, raise your hand if you're here today because you have a big heart and you have shared values with everybody in this room. Okay, great. That's what makes being in Indivisible spaces so awesome, is because you know when you come in here, you know that everybody, if you don't know their names or haven't seen them before, but if they're in an Indivisible space, they have a big heart and shared values with you. You could go anywhere across New York or across the country, pop into an Indivisible meeting, and you know who's in there. That feels really, really good in times like these, right? So, I haven't already said it. I'm just going to speak from the heart today. So I'm Sarah Rieske. I'm the Indivisible Organizing Manager for New York. So I'm paid staff. My job is to help Indivisible groups, which are grassroots groups that really want to help make a multiracial, inclusive democracy a reality in our country for the very first time. I help them be successful. I'm a real nerd about organizing. Okay, I eat, sleep, whatever, like it's all organizing in my life, okay? And I always want to make sure that you can be an activist, but I don't want you to be a Sarah Jr., okay? I do this full time. I'm also a group leader of my own group called Indivisible Mohawk Valley. I live near Utica. I drove 2 hours in order to be here today with so much love and joy in my heart, because I absolutely love supporting Indivisible groups. I want to make political activism bite-sized, local, and fun. Y'all are very busy, amazing people. I'm a busy, amazing person, but that doesn't mean that you don't have an option to do things. So that is why being part of Indivisible Tompkins is going to be so crucial, because you are going to have a way to channel those big emotions into impactful energy. Raise your hand if you love busy work. Oh, no, you put your hand down. We have got busy lives. We don't need busy work. We want to make a difference, right? And we do that by taking everything in bite size, okay? By showing up together. You guys are making a huge statement. There's been over 900 people that are saying, yeah, I'm interested in getting to know Indivisible Tompkins, okay? And what I hope that I can help do is that when you go home and you leave here, you'll be like, I'm really glad I went today. I'm really glad, and I really want to get to know Indivisible Tompkins, and I want to know if this could be my political activism home when it comes to everything about resisting this administration, when it comes to fighting and going down in the history books as doing everything that you can. I really want Indivisible Tompkins to be that home for you. I want the Indivisible movement in New York to feel like it is a big family. I just love Indivisibles, you guys. I'm so excited. Like, you guys are joining. We have over 100 Indivisible groups in New York. We have over 2,000 across the country. There have been over 30 new groups in New York, including Indivisible Tompkins. So you are not alone. There are literally 30 other groups of people like this, and people just coming out and saying, like, I'm here now, right? You may have been doing this work for decades. Bless you. You are amazing. We want to help carry that torch with you, and there are people who are here for the very, very first time, and you are welcome and you are needed too, okay? All right, so everything everybody needs to know, Indivisibles are awesome. We make political activism bite-sized, local, and fun. And you guys are part of, just part of a huge, huge family, okay? A couple things that Indivisible teaches us. Indivisible teaches us that you have power. You have even more power when you join together, Okay? You guys, right? Josh Riley loves indivisible groups. You guys are in part of Congressional District NY19. You flipped it. I want to give you guys a round of applause. You guys did so much amazing work in the last election cycle. You guys have given the Democrats the fighting chance in the House with what we have right now. And New York slayed it when it came to passing Prop 1. So give yourself a lot of snaps for everybody who voted for Prop 1. Okay. So Indivisible teaches us how we use our constituent powers in order to influence people who care about us, which are our electeds. That's Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, and for you, Josh Riley. Do not call Mitch McConnell. Do not call Mike Lawler. They do not care about you. That is busy work, okay? That doesn't make a difference. You call the people who want your vote, okay? So that's the number one rule. Don't call other people, only call who you use your constituent powers. All right, number two is we build power together. You guys are doing a great job. I absolutely love the energy in here where you guys know that it's not just Indivisible Tompkins, it's joining with other organizations at the local level to make a difference, or at the state level, or across your congressional district. We do all of this together, and I just love the messages where this is about us versus the billionaires, because that is really the mantra that we are going to need to be on repeat constantly. Okay. Another thing that's really important to know is that I think of grassroots organizing like a dinner buffet. Okay, there's so much good stuff and you're not doing dishes. You just want to eat it all. And there's always going to be more than you can ever possibly eat. But like I said, I don't expect you to be a Sarah Jr. What I do expect you to do is figure out what part of that buffet you really want to eat from, right? So typically kind of what happens, the flow of information is Indivisible has great insight into what's coming up, where constituents can make a difference. They let everybody know, they let organizers know. I talk to the group leaders, like Indivisible Tompkins, and then they get information out to you, right? So I show them kind of what's on the buffet, and I say, time to eat up, take what you want, what works for your district, right? Because we got groups in NY21 that are going to be working their tails off to elect Blake and replace Elise Stefanik with a Democrat, okay? We've got groups in NY24 who have Claudia Tenney. Bless their hearts, been there, boo to Claudia Tenney, oh gosh, you know? And then you've got people like here in NY19 or in Ithaca specifically, you know, in Tompkins County where you guys just have actions that are better suited for you guys. So you guys take what you want from that buffet, but then you need to eat, okay? Say it again. Oh, guess, okay, oh girl, okay, all right. All right, so Indivisibles, including Indivisible Tompkins, just signed on to a statewide letter asking Governor Hochul to come meet with Indivisibles for a statewide call to let us know how are you protecting New York from the inside and the outside from Trump. Okay? So, she has blown past the deadline of when she is supposed to get back to us. I'm giving her till Monday, but then if she doesn't want to do that, okay, cool, we'll just ask Antonio Delgado, who happens to love Indivisibles. So we will get a statewide call where we are going to be on and everybody's invited. In fact, I'm going to see all y'all again on Wednesday night when we meet with Chuck Schumer. You guys have been seeing the revolving thing? Okay, we basically have a month to save healthcare in this country. Senator Schumer and allies, including Indivisible, WFP, Citizen Action, Labor, are all getting on a Zoom Wednesday the 26th at 8 p.m., and he's going to give us an inside scoop of what's happening. Republicans want to do $2 trillion of tax cuts, what do they want to do? $2 trillion away from us to give $4.5 trillion to billionaires and raise the debt ceiling by $4 trillion. Now, numbers never persuade anybody, but if anybody remembers the ACA fight of 2017 that culminated in McCain going like this, that whole fight happens in the next 4 weeks. Wow. We're about to be real busy. We're all going to have orders to get out there in action. Who here loves climate stuff? I hear Ithaca people really love climate. Okay, cool. Who knows of a woman in Sweden named Greta? Okay, what was her starting point? Didn't she just turn up at like a Swedish government building and like sat outside with a sign? Imagine if she just sat outside and had no sign. Would that have been as powerful? No, you showing up with a sign is powerful. Okay? 5 people to a rally, fun. 500 people to a rally, even more fun. Okay? So when Indivisible Tompkins sends you an email or puts out an action, this is for you guys to say, hey, is this something I'm interested in doing? Is this something that I can make bite-sized, local, and fun for me? I want you to show up. I really, really do. There's going to be some things that are not your cup of tea. That's fine, right? There's things that aren't my favorite thing to do, but I'm always going to try to find a way to say yes. Even if that's, I can't go, but I'm going to ask 3 of my friends and let them know about the opportunity, okay? So Indivisible is not like, we're just going to look to the steering committee and they're going to tell us what to do. Everybody can do something, right? We have to make this bite-sized, local, and fun. Organizing has to have joy in it. We can't just be all angry all the time. We have to make sure that we know that we are fighting for a world that doesn't exist yet, and we are part of the story and that we're making history to get there. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to be super happy to see what questions you come up with. Please make them as nerdy as possible. I can answer anything that you want. But I just want to let you know I'm so, so grateful to Indivisible Tompkins. So, so grateful that you're just like, hell yeah, I'm going to go to Indivisible Church and make some new friends today. But there is going to be so much happening, and I just want you to know that we have to make everything bite-sized, local, and fun. Show up in the ways that you can and spread the word for it, okay? All right, with that, I'm going to let you guys, everybody noodle on questions for me. Hit me with anything that you got when you're ready. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for coming all that way. So we're going to collect those questions now. Pass your cards to Ken or Chris. We'll take a few minutes to do that. And while we're doing that, I just want to say, put it on the back of someone else's if you need a card. All right, I would like to say a few things while we're doing that. So, Sarah really told us what we need to do. We need to join Indivisible Tompkins by getting on our email list and getting on the indivisible.org email list, but then also showing up, whether that means making phone calls, coming to our meetings, coming to actions, joining a committee to decide how to take action. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for as many people as possible to find some way that they can contribute. I know that for me, I feel a lot of anxiety about where things are headed right now, but after I make just one phone call to an elected official, I feel so much more powerful because I know that I'm one of hundreds of thousands of people that are calling. 1,600 calls a minute, isn't that what Susan Collins was getting? So that's just one way that I get active, and it makes me feel better. So I wish that for you as well. So get on our email list if you're not already. And we are the steering committee that is here to steer things along, but we're looking for input from all of you. You know, if there's a group that wants to do music and art and be creative, I think there is, then we'll take that, you know, that'll be one of the ways that we get active. Spreading unity and joy through creativity. And we're going to show up for our neighbors. That's another way that we're going to get active. We've heard a lot about that today. Show up for people who are feeling vulnerable or who need help. We need a few more minutes. Why don't we, where's Joanna? Do some chants? Well, unless I go on to the slides. Should I go on to the slides? All right, so while the questions are being chosen, we're going to show those slides that have been running on a loop. We're going to do a few of them a little slower so I make sure you get everything that's on the slides. So Paul, could we have
Sure, that one. That's the one Sarah just talked about, okay? You'll get an email about that if you're on the indivisible.org email list or Indivisible Tompkins email list. Sorry, make sure you're on our email list. Let's see the next slide. We already kind of talked about that one. Okay, so here's something you can do right now. Take out your phone. Make sure you have these phone numbers in your contacts. These are people we want you to call. We'll be letting you know what we think you should call them about. You can call them about other things too. Yes? Yeah, thanks. Check out 5 calls. But
We can't take comments from the floor right
okay, sorry, that was my mistake. Thank you, though. I know a lot of people are using 5 calls, but we at Indivisible Tompkins are going to also be giving you basically scripts and tell you what to focus on, because as Sarah told us, our power is strongest when we act collectively. So when all of Indivisible is doing the same action at the same time, it really adds up. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. Could we have the next slide, please? So we wanted to let you know that Josh Riley is having office hours. His staff, he is in Washington, as he said in the video, but his staff are having office hours this week at Tompkins County Public Library, and we urge you to go and tell his staff how the federal government's actions are affecting you personally. If you've been laid off, if you've lost grant money, if you are worried about Medicaid or Social Security, tell him about it. That's what he's there to hear about. And we want to make sure that our electeds have stories that they can tell, stories from their constituents about why they should do something or not do something. Okay, great. And is there one more slide? One more slide. So here's how you can join us. Sign up for our newsletter. We will start having weekly meetings starting next week. Tuesday evenings, but you need to be on our newsletter list to find out the exact time and location. But we invite you to come to those meetings. Even if you can't come every time, just drop in. Find some great people to hang out with. Talk about what's next. Get organized. And there might even be cookies. So get on our newsletter. All right, I think I have some questions for Sarah. Sure.
All right, hit me. Wait, is this working?
Yep.
Is it working? Great.
Okay. All right, Sarah, will there be an organized effort for Ithacans to help with the special NY21 election?
We can definitely make that happen. Yes. We had 600 indivisibles on our call, what day was it? The 12th? No, the 18th with Blake. We had 900 people show up. So Indivisible is going to create a plan that anybody can participate in. If y'all want to come help us in Oneida County knock on doors, I will teach you how to knock on doors and how to talk to voters if you've never done that before. But if you want to make phone calls, Indivisible is still working on their mail plan to try to figure out if we're doing letters or postcards or something, but I will make sure that anybody in New York who wants to help permanently kick Elise Stefanik out has a way to do that. Trust me. Trust me.
What assurance do we have that there will be midterms? Can our elections be canceled?
No, they're not going to be canceled. No, don't worry about it. It ain't happening. We got other things to focus on right now. Don't worry about 2026 in terms of if there's going to be elections. We focus right now on building the power in order to stop the Republicans from what they're doing right now. So don't focus about that.
What are the plans for the day the Trump administration clearly refuses to follow a court order?
Good question. I haven't heard any specific plans yet. I know I've heard from indivisibles who are like, Sarah, when is there going to be the national strike? Sarah, when are we going to, all get in the streets? Well, guess what? When we organize, we do tactics that build up like this, like music that gets louder and louder and louder, and it gets louder because there's more voices, okay? So you don't come out of the gate with something big. Who went to Binghamton? I heard there was a good crowd of Binghamton at Senator Schumer's office. Okay, something like that, that's where you start, right? And then as you build more and more, now there's going to be 200 people doing something, and then it's going to be 400, and then before you know it, it's 1,200, and et cetera. So before there's a big, we're pissed off, red line, you crossed it, Trump, whatever, we need to keep building the muscle. We need to keep showing that everybody here is going to show up for that, and then they're going to bring five friends, okay? So it will be coming, but it has to go over time, and we have to build the muscle to get there. Does that make sense? It might be a couple months, who knows? But when you hear those call to actions, make a plan to show up and bring a sign.
Awesome.
Okay? Don't worry about it. Don't do the blackout. It's a waste of time. It's not an effective tactic. The thing, okay, I'm super nerdy about this. Only do tactics when you know they are part of a plan. Doing something for the sake of doing something is not good organizing. Somebody coming up with an idea out of their pocket of like, oh, let's not buy anything on Friday, so everybody buys it Thursday. Like, it doesn't do anything. It's not a good tactic right now. Could it be a tactic, part of a plan further down the road? Sure. But February 28th is not part of a grand kind of overall big plan, so don't worry about it. It's busy work, and I don't want you doing busy work.
This is how the civil rights movement worked. This is how the civil rights movement worked. And we're here to talk about Indivisible, and this is how Indivisible works.
Yeah, we're going to do good organizing.
But Sarah, are phone calls actually a good way to talk to Congresspeople?
Yes, absolutely. And make sure you leave a voice message. Even if you called right now, they have to document that. There are staff who have to document every issue that is coming in. It only takes 15 phone calls to raise the conversation with the member of Congress. So if you had 15 phone calls into Josh Riley's office asking him to vote no on the budget reconciliation to make sure that he is not voting to give tax cuts to billionaires, he is going to get that as soon as it hits 15. 15 is the magic number. Does that make sense? Okay.
All right, and I'm just going to take one more, which is, why aren't our representatives like Josh Riley out there doing town halls and press releases? We need to make more noise. We are here.
Okay, cool. We can talk about that. I want to know, what would y'all be doing today if Mark Molinaro was your representative? We'd be getting all kinds of fun trouble, wouldn't we? Right? Because it's super fun and it's super appropriate to beat the Republicans like a piñata. All right? I love making political activism bite-sized, local, and fun. Nothing gives me more fun than to just drag those Republicans' names through the mud and give them negative press coverage. Oh, it makes me so happy, okay? But that's not how we treat our Democrats. All right? We have a different strategy when it comes to our Democrats. Josh is on our side. You guys worked really hard to get him elected. He is part of the plan to take back the House, okay? So there's different things with advocacy. I'm going to do an advocacy training with the help of our policy and our political teams. Everybody's welcome to come to that. Tell me again the main question.
Why aren't they doing town halls and press
so
releases?
Members of Congress have to be in DC to vote, and then they have to spend time in the district during in-district work periods called recesses. We just had one. So Josh was busy going to different businesses and organizations and meeting people across 11 counties. He's one person, okay? But he teamed up, he went all over. All right, it's also only been 6 weeks. It's totally fine if they want to have town halls this early, cool, but when there's a little bit more to talk about, that's when they're definitely going to have them. The next one is going to be March 17th, which is in the heart of the healthcare tax fight. So that is a great time for Josh to hold a town hall and for all of us to go and help share stories about how this is affecting people in our communities, because that gives him political wind to then call it out a little bit more. So we help our Democrats. We do not beat them like a piñata. We work with them with a strategic relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing I tell indivisible groups, okay? When you have a Democrat in a purple district like NY19, AOC could not win this district. Okay? You have to remember that. I had Claudia Tenney, she is a 0 out of 10. Everything I want, she wanted to vote to ruin my kids' lives every day that ends in Y. All right? So I said no more, and we beat her. And we took an R+16 district, and we flipped it. And that was NY22 in 2018, and I made her unemployed for 2 years. I loved it. Okay, so, but we have to, where was I going with that? Other than like going down memory lane. Okay, yeah, we have to be strategic and stuff, so we help get our, I forgot where I was going.
That's
There's
okay.
so much going on. I'm
Guys,
sorry.
Indivisible is widely credited with the 2018 midterm success
Yeah,
for
for
Democrats.
sure.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, so the other thing is we're better prepared for 2025 with Trump 2.0 than we were in 2017 for Trump 1.0, okay? I feel like we've gone from a football field to a Hunger Games stadium, but that doesn't mean that we are just gonna roll over and do everything. Like, we just have to learn how to do it on a new terrain. Everything is coming at us really, really fast, but we know that organizing wins. Okay, and so we're gonna do the best that we can, and we're gonna make it all bite-sized, local, and fun, because everybody just has big hearts and we're very busy. But we have to do it, and the way you do it is by having your political activism home be Indivisible Tompkins. Right? And then you're going to show up in solidarity. I know Citizen Action is in the house, other local, organizations, everybody teaming up together, but we do it in a way that is going to, be super helpful and super strategic. And that's what I get to go, because I tell people, because most people don't know what a political organizer is, so I just tell them I'm a coach for communities that save democracy. That's what I do, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be the ace up your sleeve and be able to help teach you everything that you need to know.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
I'm hella good at it, Anna.
Thank you for your
I'm good at
questions.
it.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right, we are wrapping it up. No, we're not.
It's unacceptable to diss other grassroots organizations. It's unacceptable to diss the NAACP. We do not stand for that in this community. And that is not the definition of standing together. That is not okay. It is unacceptable. In this community, it is unacceptable in the United States of America.
Thank you, and we appreciate. Sometimes we. Yes, and we appreciate being called out when we need to be called out. And thank you.
All right. Yeah. Well. Yes, and. So we are going to move into the final section of our time together. We are conscious of everybody's time, and we thank you so much for listening to these inspiring speakers and learning about Indivisible and Indivisible Tompkins. We hope that you'll join us. So we're going to break now into some mingling and networking. There are signs posted around this room and at some tables in the other room of ways that you might want to get active in Indivisible Tompkins. These are not specific issues that you want to take action on. These are just what you're drawn to do as part of this organization. There also are refreshments, including cookies. So help yourself to those and stay and network if you would like. There also are some tables from some of our partner groups. Working Families Party has a table. All Eyes and Ears on Racism has a table. Please check those out before you go. And I just want to also ask the people who were seated in the parlor if they could please stack their chairs so there's more space for mingling. Also, just keep in mind that you can donate to Indivisible Tompkins. There are signs around with a QR code for that. There are some jars for cash. It did cost money to put on this big event, and we appreciate your support. All right. So there is, my friend Joni just pointed out that Indivisible is sending out information about the February 28th economic blackout. You can find out more about it through that. Thank you all for coming. Do you want the last word? All right. Peaches would like to say one last thing before you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, shh, shh, shh. I just want you to hear this, that our group, AIR, has just become a member of the NAACP, and they are supporting us right now. There are also a group of us who are trying to bring a chapter here to Ithaca, and so what we need to do is make sure that they are feeling supported in their efforts to make changes, and that's what we need to do with everyone, to support one another's efforts. Thank you.